Hi guys, welcome to Campus Spotlight, the official radio station of IIT PALAKKAD. Joined with us today, we have a bunch of our students who are excited to join us for our show. And you guys know what our show is? This is not just another feminist rant. I would like the panelists to introduce themselves.
This is Sharandeep, second year undergraduate. I'm one of the content creators in Campus Spotlight. I hope everyone listens to the opinions of others with open mind.
Hi everyone, my name is Gautam Kori. I'm a fresher at IIT PALAKKAD. I'm really intrigued to see how this discussion goes.
Hello, I'm Shoeb, batch 2019, mechanical branch.
Hi everyone, this is Mayurakshi. I'm a student of MSc Physics first year.
Hello everybody, I'm Neil. I'm from CA second year.
Hello, this is RJ Perry from Campus Spotlight, and I'm in CAC second year, and I'm really excited to have this conversation with all of you today.
Hi everyone, I'm Pratish. I'm a third year mechanical engineering undergrad, and I really look forward to this discussion.
Hello everyone, I'm Priyanka. I'm a third year electrical engineering undergraduate.
Hello everyone, I'm Ritika, electrical second year.
Okay, thank you guys for introducing yourselves. I'm sure the term feminism is not new to all of us. Many of us were introduced to the term feminism in different situations and also in different contexts. I myself was introduced to the term feminism actually on YouTube through a feminism cringe compilation video. Well, now I ask myself, does feminism mean, is it something to cringe at? Or does it have a deeper meaning and represent a bigger cause? That's why we've all gathered here today. Before we start, I want to know, how many of you here are a feminist?
I am definitely someone who identifies as a feminist.
Yeah, so do I.
I believe I'm a feminist too.
Yeah, as of now, I believe in feminist ideologies.
Well, I believe my definition of feminism is quite different, but yeah, I will call myself a feminist.
I certainly would call myself a feminist.
I identify myself as a feminist.
Okay, that's good to hear. Okay, can anyone tell me what does feminism actually mean?
Well, speaking in the sociological context, feminism is a social movement when, especially after the arrival of Renaissance and then the invention of democracy in Europe, a certain movement was started by females all around the world, especially originating from Europe, I guess. If I'm wrong, please correct me here. Where the demand for equal rights is the main focus for women, just as equal rights are given to men. The entire driving force of the feminist movement is to ensure and demand equal rights of women in every sociological context, be it profession, be it sociological duties, political duties, etc. These demands pose as the central focal point of what we call the feminist movement. I believe that's feminism.
I would give a little bit of a different definition because I think feminism is not just about women. It is about the equality of all genders. As we know, the gender is not just a binary, gender is a spectrum. Feminism is about the equality of all gender. As much as we need feminism for women, we need feminism for men. We need feminism for people who are oppressed in any way. Feminism is not only about women's rights or equality for women.
Okay, so you say feminism wants equality between men and women. That is basically all gender. But it was, as Pratish said, it was started, they wanted equal right, that women should be treated equal to men. But is that still persistent in today's society? Because many men do face oppression also. And in fact, there is some kind of a stereotype that men are expected to be strong and not show any signs of weakness. Is this fair for men? Are you aiming for equality with men, or is it like men versus women? Yes, Mayurakshi.
As I said, the point which you just brought up, that men are expected to be stronger, they are supposed to take up all the responsibilities, and men don't cry. Where that comes from, that is the patriarchy which feminists talk about. That is smash the patriarchy. Because this thing which has come up, the unnecessary burden on men of always taking the responsibility, of always being strong, of always, taking all the pressure and never complaining, that has come from the belief that women are weaker. That is basically the result of patriarchy. Just like patriarchy oppresses women, patriarchy also oppresses men in the way you just mentioned. So that's why I said that feminism is both for men and for women. It's never men versus women or any gender versus any gender for that matter of fact. So that's what I wanted to say basically.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, Pritesh.
Yeah, so when Mayurakshi gave her definition of feminism, where its domain is not just limited to women, but it's expanded to all humans, but I would like to say that there already exists a term for that known as humanism. So whenever people are introduced to the term feminism, they always find themselves relating to the original context of this social movement, that is equality of rights between men and women. It's true that right now a new definition of this term is getting evolved, where the domain of this social movement is expanding itself from just females to the entire human population. But still, I would say that in terms of social movements, there exists the term humanism. That's what I want to say.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Gautam.
Yeah. So I just wanted to add on to what Pritesh and Mayurakshi was saying is that, because of, all the incidents that have occurred, and because everyone, whenever you say feminism, you get this image in your mind thinking about, women and how they're oppressed. And I believe it is happening, and I believe it should happen, that this term, starts to apply to everyone. And all the stereotypes which you had, that men have certain things to do, they shouldn't talk much, gossip much and all that doesn't make sense at all. If you are who you are, if you want to cry or if you want to be open about your feelings, that's completely fine.
So are you saying that men aren't given the choice of expressing themselves? And yes, Priyanka, you wanted to say something. Yep. I'll get back to you, Gautam. Yes, Priyanka, go on.
As everyone else mentioned, feminism is about building an inclusive society that allows every human to express how they feel, even when it comes to profession. It's about building a society that allows everyone to do in everything.
Okay. Yes, Gautam.
Yeah, what I wanted to say is that yes, I mean, if we look at India, then what I find is that it's just that inbuilt mindset, whenever parents raise their kids. I mean, it's never intentional, but then they just say generally to boys, that you should wear blue colors, you should play with action figures, while the girls should play with, dolls and stuff. And then, whenever boys fall down, you hear the most general, don't cry, it's all right, you're a boy and stuff. So while they don't mean it, it's inbuilt into their brain that, boys are supposed to do these kind of things. And I don't think that is right. We should, start broadening our perspective and start being more open to what we are and accepting ourselves.
Yes, I agree. Okay, thank you. Yes, Pritesh.
Yeah, so I wanted to add something to Gautam's statement. Although it's true that now it's a time where we allow every individual to be who they are. But the thing is, I believe that should not be the only focus of this social movement. Feminism should have a much deeper philosophical goal. So I believe this should be an important focus, that at atomic level, every individual should be allowed to express who they are. But I believe that this movement is also important for the well-being of the society and the country in general in almost all contexts. And by all contexts, I mean psychological, economical, sociological, every context.
Thank you. So you're saying it's supposed to be equality instead of empowering weaker sections. We have to empower the weaker sections. That's true. But at the same time, we are supposed to empower the ones who already have power and give them equal treatment. Is that what feminism is actually aiming at?
As far as I can see, as of right now, whenever you see the feminism phenomenon, society is divided into two extremes. Like most of my peers are divided into two extremes, where they just either take one side, where they condemn the other side. Like they said, okay, my views are right only and your views are completely wrong, and your views are right only and my views are completely wrong, things like that. I have even seen pages on Instagram where the usernames of those pages are, I do not support feminism. I mean, what's going on? We are getting divided into extremes, whereas our main goal should be the well-being of the society. What I'm saying is that equality can be only ensured through empowerment, unless and until you bring up the people on the same level, which means some people are too high above that level and some people are too low above that level. You need to sort of ensure an equal distribution of equality. That's what I'm saying. And that's not happening right now in the society. Society is just getting divided into extremes and extremes.
Okay. Yes, Parchita, what would you like to add on?
So I think I'm late to the conversation, but there was something that Pritesh said that kept bothering me for a while. Like the thing that he said last, that feminism is not exactly aiming towards equality on all aspects. So I would like to add something to that actually. I came across this example and I feel like it's a really good example. I think all of us have heard about Black Lives Matter, right? And there were many riots, there were many protests, and a lot of people, and especially some white privileged people, they came up with a term, all lives matter. And some people started saying that, why do only Black lives matter? Why does all lives not matter? And stuffs like that. The thing is, well, Black lives matter and so do all lives. But currently, our situation is that the Blacks are being oppressed. The Blacks are not getting justice enough. They are not getting their rights. So that is why the movement had to have a name, right? So that is why the name Black Lives Matter was given and not All Lives Matter. But that does not mean that all lives don't matter. The thing is, people are viewing it as Black lives only matter. Whereas the thing is, Black lives matter too. So I think that is something that is really relevant even in this situation right now. People think that feminism means we women are wanting equal rights for us. You know, we want to upgrade our status, we want to get to the level of men. But that is not true at all. All lives matter, all genders matter, and we want to fight for all genders. We want equality. It's something that a feminazi would say. But feminism, in real sense, would not ever say that. So that's all I wanted to say.
Okay, thank you. Yes, Gautam?
Yeah, so I completely agree with what Parchita said. What I want to say is, like, it might be a bit redundant, but I just want to throw it out here that I really don't understand why people oppress another gender, for that matter, anything like another race or another color. I don't really understand how our ancestors decided that, okay, a woman is supposed to be less efficient than a man. That is completely illogical. And that's why it's obviously a really good thing that more and more people are learning about feminism and accepting the equality across the whole gender spectrum.
Okay. I would like to change topic a little bit. The thing is, the way women are portrayed in the movies is quite different from how they are in real life. In movies, we have always seen women being a moral support of men. And she's there for, whenever the hero feels low, she's there to bring them up and all. That is not actually a good representation of women. But people still do that, and they make a lot of money. What is your view on how films and medias influence women and the movement of feminism? Yes, Priyanka.
Yeah, so I think what you spoke about, that is how women are portrayed in songs and everything, is like something very important. Major way general public understands the world around them is through movies and such, right? They have reinforced the stereotype of women being really soft and caring, and all the songs that we listen to describe women as soft and like a flower and things like that, like the moon and stuff like that. But then when they describe a man, they talk about how strong he is, how his attitude is amazing and things like that. It was already there, and it continues to reinforce patriarchal thoughts that women are merely objects, right? It is wrong that they do that, and it is the film industry's responsibility to realize how huge of an impact they have on people's minds. And more recent work has been more forward and portray women as main characters, and I think that's good, and we should go in that direction.
Yes, Ritika.
Yeah, Sugandhan. Like in my childhood, where I grew, I saw a few movies like, okay, so girl is meant to be like this. Why can't she be like that? So when I used to speak about these, my parents and few of my relatives were like, no, you shouldn't think like that. A girl is meant to do these things. Like, they have to take care of the house. They don't have to work a lot because men are there for that job. I was influenced like that. So I guess media affects a lot.
Thank you, Ritika. Yes, Gautam.
Yeah. One thing which I want to say is that when you said that, how films portray women to support men and all, I mean, that is completely fine. As in, see, if you're down and you need a friend, whether a man is there or a woman, that doesn't matter. Like, if the hero is down, then he needs someone to comfort him. What shouldn't matter is if it is a man or a woman. The mistake which the movies are doing is that they're always putting the woman into the comforting part, beauty parts, the songs and all that. What I'm saying, what I'm saying again is that there should be both chances where a woman is going out and doing the tough job, and then man is there to comfort her. That's what should happen even more. And a woman comforting another man or another person, that is completely fine. What I'm saying is the other factor also should not come into the play, not a reduction of this one.
Yes, Parichita, let's hear from you.
First of all, thank you for introducing this topic, because it is really true that movies, cartoons, things we grow up watching, these impact us a lot. I'll talk about Disney movies because as a kid I would always watch Disney movies and stuff. So the thing is, if you have a look at the older ones, you will have Beauty and the Beast, you will have Sleeping Beauty, you'll have Cinderella, Snow White, and in all of the movies she is a woman who does not have any self-motivation to live, and her Prince Charming will come and save her life. But if you look at the movies that Disney is trying to make these days, it will be like Moana, or it will be like I think a new movie is also coming out. So most of these women are actually portrayed as strong. It influences the kid very much. So I think it is true that movies influence the kid, and movies should be made like that one.
Okay, thank you. Ritesh, what do you have to say?
I would like to answer Parichita's opposition as well as Gautam's question which they posed long back ago. The thing is, that's true that the purpose of feminism was to ensure equality among all men and women. I'm glad that its purpose evolved from ensuring equality to a particular gender to ensuring equality to every human being. That should be the purpose of a true feminist. What I said, is this movement really following that purpose? Let me take an example. A few months ago, women in Turkey started a movement where they had to oppose the femicide problem. Government was just executing women who were out being open and were opposing ridiculous policies of the government. But what the government does is just simply execute them in public. So, in order to oppose this, they started a movement which in social media platforms and newspapers, even the media helped them, though the pictures of the women being executed was being published in black and white. So, this started a trend throughout the whole world where women all across the world started putting their pictures in black and white format just in order to support the cause of banishing femicide. But what happened in India is that, and it is a well-observed phenomenon, that by the time the movement reached India, it practically lost its purpose, and the only identity that remained regarding to this movement was that it was just a trend. A very little amount of people knew what it was actually for. My problem with this movement is that the main carriers of this movement are unfortunately not very much informed about its true purpose. And I'm afraid to say that it's the actions done by the mass that make history. It's true that in Germany, many people did not support the killing of Jews, but the actions of the mass were what that make history. The mass supported Hitler, and we can see what happened. Now, the second point. Gautam said that it's quite ridiculous that why people discriminate on the basis of caste, color, gender, religion, etc. Well, Gautam, you will have to go to the root of the problem to understand why the problem there is. The problem of feminism is not just a few thousand years old or a few 5,000 years old. No, it has started since the time of 10,000 BC. When humans started agriculture and they shifted their entire lifestyle from being a hunter-gatherer to being a settled, civilized society, the concept of property came up. If you will read the philosophy of Karl Marx and the works of certain anthropologists, there is a clear demarcation of the change in the lifestyle of human beings when they shifted from being a hunter-gatherer to being an agricultural society. In hunter-gatherer groups, women and men had equal roles because you simply can't kill a woolly mammoth all alone. You need teamwork, right? And the fruits of this teamwork was divided into a mass, entire tribe. A woolly mammoth could keep a tribe surviving for like a very long duration of time. When agriculture hits in, the concept of property hits in. This is my land, and its output will only be distributed to the people who belong to me. The concept of progeny became important. Who was the person who carried this progeny for 9 months? A woman. That's the point of time when women would stop being considered as an individual and started being considered as a property. That's the problem here. Now, in the age of science, it's our duty to flip this primordial thought system. And that's why I'm afraid that this very purpose of the feminist movement, which is quite a noble one, that is to flip this primordial thought process, that I'm afraid that many people are not aware of. And that's why I'm afraid that it might defeat the purpose of the entire movement that has been carried on for like 500 years or so. That's my concern.
Okay, thank you, Pritesh. Pritesh, this is to all of you guys. Does religion have something to do with how women are being portrayed? Because I've seen that religion and casteism too, because mostly the women who are being discriminated women discrimination started with the lower caste women being treated as slaves, as even being treated as, I'll tell you one incident which I read in an article. It was that lower caste women were often married to God. Like they perform a ritual in which they marry them to God, and then they would use them as prostitutes and they would use them as slaves. And this was particularly done to the weaker sections of the society. So, how does religion oppose feminism? Like, how is it target is the feminists are going after? And how should the feminists approach it? Yes, Mayurakshi.
First, I would like to speak for just a minute about the movie and media thing. I completely agree with what Parichita said, that the Disney movies, or the movies which are mostly, the kids are the main viewers, those movies are becoming progressive day by day, they're getting better. I think that is probably because children don't judge. But our movies, the movies which grown-ups see, or the novels, or whatever is written for the adults, that is not progressing at the same rate as the Disney movies and others are progressing. That is mostly because we are not ready for such content. Every time a movie or something comes out in which the woman is the central character, in which she is not playing a submissive role, you will see a significant amount of backlash. That never comes from the part of children. That's exactly why Disney movies are being able to do better day by day. They are being able to portray independent women, strong women, but our movies, the movies which are intended for the adults, those movies are not being able to do the same. And now coming to the caste angle, I would say that, the oppression of women or of any person, the oppression is in layers. Nowadays, we hear the term of intersectional feminism. That is, you have to address the oppression in layers. For instance, let us say a person is trans, and the person is also not from a good, financially stable background, then that person belongs to a so-called lower caste, and then the person is by biological gender, a woman. So the oppression faced by this person will definitely be different from the oppression faced by a woman who is cis and is also from a financially stable background. So you cannot solve the two problems with the same kind of thinking. For the initial problem which I said, that is when there are many layers to the oppression, we will have to first divide the problem into different categories. Like in order to give equality to the person who is trans, who is also belonging from a caste which is a so-called lower caste, someone who is not from a financial background, we will have to address the problems of casteism, racism if involved, poverty has to be eradicated. I know it's not possible like that, but we have to deal with that problem in many layers. It no longer remains just about the oppression of a woman and then, rights of a woman. It goes much deeper than that, where the oppression is in layers. That's why we need intersectional feminism and not just feminism. That's all I wanted to say.
Yes, thank you. Yes, Gautam.
So you asked what role does caste and religion play? What my thought is that, we just talked about movies and how they affect, the society's mind in general. And I would say that religion has the same effect, but, by greater magnitude. Because religion, almost everyone, there are many people who follow their own religions. And then it affects them a lot. You have your taboos, and then you have your testaments and whatever, what is a good conduct, what is a bad conduct, and stuff like that. And because it was written down by our ancestors, yes, there are a few misleading phrases which may mislead us into thinking that women should be submissive and stuff like that. So what my final point is that we should, it does play a major role, and we should try in solving that. And as Mayurakshi already said, there are different layers to this problem, and we should try eradicating each layer at a time. So this is another layer which worsens the problem, and we should focus on solving both.
Okay, Gautam. Nitesh, what would you like to add on?
Well, I would like to talk about that religion part. Well, if you see, Sugandhan, the thing is, the religions that exist today in their current form, yes, they are definitely at fault in promoting anti-feminist thoughts. That's true. But it's like not all the religions have always been like that. Let me tell you. Because a religion is an important part of a culture and hence defines the way people live. When you will take a look at the travelogues of Megasthenes, who visited India during the time of the Mauryan Empire, apparently, and at which time the Indian society was quite homogeneous in the context of religion, if you call Hinduism religion. The thing is, according to the accounts of Megasthenes, the Indian people did not practice the system of dowry. It's amazing, right? The thing is, but similarly, when you will go back to the origins of one of the oldest religions of the world, that is the Zoroastrianism, each and everything was much more focused on God. And now their major god, what is that? What was his name? Yeah, Ahura Mazda. Instead of in spite of defining how men and women should behave, there is even at this point of time, since the Zoroastrians kept their community quite close, a very less anti-feminist thoughts are found in that culture. So the thing is, how two different religions interacted with each other, that leads to the development of anti-feminist thoughts. See what happened with Hinduism. When the Muslim invaders came in India, at that time, followers of Hinduism suffered an identity crisis. In the case of the other religions, for example, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, they suffered identity crisis right from the moment of their birth, because the places where they were born, there were so many polytheistic sects which were already challenging their existence. Okay, so they had to come up with some radical rules. This was a radical rule, these anti-feminist rules. But in India, Hinduism never faced an identity crisis before the arrival of the Muslims. Now let's see what happens. After a prolonged period of time of existence, the Muslims come to India, and this keeps Hinduism at a position of existential crisis. It's only under such pressure that a culture evolves, culture gives birth to certain practices that are completely ridiculous in the current societal paradigm. For example, the anti-feminist thoughts. For example, just in order to ensure their identity, Hinduism allowed the development of corruptive practices, for example, sati pratha and dowry and all these things. So it's true that the current religions are at fault here, but that has not always been the case. That's what I wanted to add.
Thank you. Yes, Priyanka.
Yeah, I wanted to say that I think what different religions preach has changed over time. So there was a point in time where even women were priests, but then over time, somehow scriptures and everything have been fed with more patriarchal thoughts. We rely on seeing religions through the perspective of people who have written the books we read, right? And those people have unfortunately pushed more thoughts that are tilted towards one gender. Right now we have a lot of bias towards men.
Yes, thank you.